Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is We're All Gonna Die on YouTube. I have all my socials and everything linked down below. It occurred to me that I should keep posting ballet videos this whole month, just because that's my cat, by the way. Just because that gets me like the most views. I do want to really push myself out there. Last year was a hard year for me, and I'll get into why. I'll try to put timestamps of everything that I'm going to talk about, like pros and cons of doing it at home, flexibility, am I getting stronger, do I see a difference, how long do you have to go before you kind of start learning some stuff, and like muscle memory. So if you guys are interested in learning or starting your ballet adult journey, definitely keep watching. What is this? My most popular video currently is talking about me starting my ballet journey. Sorry, that was like one of the first couple videos that I posted on my YouTube, and it did like pretty well. And it's kind of embarrassing because like I keep like cutting myself off because I should cut out all the likes and the buts and the ums and the any like blank spaces, but it sounds really robotic, and like some people were like calling me out for that at the time, just because like I wasn't as natural in it. But I guess I just wanted to kind of clarify that. I'll get into my story in a second, you know, why I was attracted to it and blah blah blah. I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to this because I get so many comments. But before I start, I know I have a lot of professional dancers like watching this video and everything like that, and kind of giving us pointers, and that's amazing. I do want to let you know that like part of the reason why I started ballet is one, because I've always wanted to, but also because I like the aesthetic, and that kind of pushed me to like keep doing it when I got older, just because you see it and you fall in love with it, etc, etc. But whenever I watch like videos and like TikToks and all of that stuff, by the way, I am posting ballet content on my TikTok, which I'll link at the bottom below. It is at Miros Davila, so that's like my name. Whenever I watch those kinds of videos, professional ballerinas in the comments will say like, hey, this is actually not really depicting ballet like realistically, as far as like it being like a trend and like ballet core and off-duty ballerina. The way that the people that have made it into a trend, that's not actually how ballet dancers dress, and maybe not to the T where it looks like aesthetic, because it's still like, you know, for some people it's their job. For some people, like they do it like 5 times a week and like 3 times a day or 2 times a day or whatever, because they have classes. Anyway, I totally understand where you guys are coming from. I think the good thing, if we see the duality of it, I feel like I could see why it could be like not even problematic, but just like, I don't know, I can't think of the right word, maybe unreasonable or just unrealistic. But at the same time, the unrealistic version of it and the fantasy version of it and the aesthetic version of it that's unrealistic pushes a lot of adults that have never done that before and want to try something new and, you know, want to live out their, you know, dreams as a kid. It kind of pushes us to do it because of the look. So in a way, I feel like that's the pro. Whether or not, you know, we continue that look or, you know, we view it differently, or a lot of the times you just like respect ballet more after you do it. I don't think it's a bad thing that it's a trend, but I could totally see why it's unrealistic and, you know, it could be kind of problematic. Now we're gonna get into quickly my story. The year before, I thought I would start before ballet because it's something that I always wanted to do, and I like trying new things. As an adult, I feel like it's so important, blah 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 blah. And at the same time, I think shortly after I started my YouTube, I'm gonna talk fast so I can just kind of say it out there real quick. Also, I'm a Sag Sun, so like I'm really trying to be structured right now. Normally like my mind's really scattered. Anyway, I started it, and I had also done like pole dancing, and I tried different things constantly. I've always wanted to do ballet, but growing up I didn't have money. My parents didn't really have the money either. I did a little bit of gymnastics, that was kind of it. Until that year, so almost 2 years ago, I wasn't able to afford it, like the classes. And the thing is, it's like if you ever want to get to a point, you have to be pretty consistent with it. So I thought like, okay, I can try to be consistent or maybe go a few times a week. And I've always liked the look, Black Swan. We all know this. Like if you guys are an adult, like maybe you had this dream as a child, because this was my dream, to do it as a child because I thought it looked so beautiful. All the women looked so elegant. It's just my favorite color. Also in all my videos, by the way, if you're new and you need some tips and you also want to be a beginner, etc, etc, like starting ballet, I mean, I have so many, like a whole playlist of ballet things, and I leave tips for you guys in case you guys are interested. Also, start ballet if you're an adult I would suggest now, because so many studios are closing just because of the simple fact that they're not having enough customers. Like my studio, they had 2 locations, they had to close one down. I ended up starting to go, like, I think it was like once a month, and it, you know, I really pushed myself out there. If you're adults and you've always wanted to try it, like, I don't know how else to put it, but I feel like you should just put yourself out there. I don't think you're ever gonna have like the guts or whatever. I just suggest you guys go out there if you've ever wanted to do it. I was going a few times a month, twice a month, and I ended up switching studios. I didn't like one or the other, so I went to another one, and I eventually liked that one. I think I started in the summer, but by the time of the end of the year, I had noticed that I had a lump on my chest. I think that was like in December, and then, you know, I was just kind of not feeling great. And then at the beginning of the year, I ended up finding out that I had cancer. And I'm not trying to make this like a sad video. I'm gonna hurry this up. I couldn't go because I had to drive a lot to Houston, which is 3 hours away from where I live. So basically it hindered my journey. And I stopped going altogether. I think I stopped for like a year. I recently picked it back up again, and I was really surprised to notice that I remembered so many of the steps that I had learned. Because if you're an adult dancer and you're starting something completely new, it's just like you're trying to follow along the teacher, but you're just seeing her. You're not thinking about what you're doing because you're thinking about so many other things or whatever. I can't open my arms all the way. I know it can be challenging. Like for the first, you know, 6 months that I went, I was like, I don't feel like I'm going better, but I'm getting better, but this is still fun. Then when I left and then I came back a few months ago, and I even did a video where I talk about like how, like in my vlogs and everything like that, where I talk about rejoining and doing like pretty good for myself. Like I just remembered some of the steps, and I'm really impressed with myself. I don't know, I think that it's hard to learn things as an adult, but whatever, we're not gonna get into that. When I was at home and I couldn't go for like a year, I was just traveling so much. I had so many doctor's appointments and everything like that. I had surgeries, I had a lot of recovery. What are the pros and cons of doing it at home? A lot of you guys actually asked, what's it like starting at home? I did have one comment that was just like really kind of, at least to me, it sounded like pretty frustrating, saying that like, hey, why are you doing it at home? You could hurt yourself, da 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 da. Just go to the ballet classes and your teachers, blah 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 blah. So many people actually practice at home, one, because your teacher will recommend that you practice at home to get better, and also because you can't go like super consistently sometimes when you don't have the budget. I feel like I don't have to explain myself, but I'm going to. Where this person came from, I'm sure probably other people have questions, but it's kind of ignorant to just be like, well, just go to the classes. Because what if you want to practice it at home but you don't have the budget? So like, and it's your dream, and should you just wait until you have enough income, and you're like, I don't know, maybe 19 at this point, so you have enough income to, and you can't afford it.
What if you don't have a ballet studio near where you live? What if you're in recovery? What if you don't have a car?
Like, it doesn't make sense. I think you should practice at home.
I definitely think that there's value in going in person and having your teacher correct your form and making sure that as you're learning your form is correct, etc., etc. That might not be the case for everyone, like all the reasons I just listed a second ago. No matter what you say, like, people are already practicing at home.
Was I successful at it? Honestly, no, because I have carpet. I had just started and I didn't remember anything. This is like a con, I guess. The way that my teacher teaches is different, obviously, than Catherine Morgan. It was hard for me to follow her along. And versus like when I go into class, of course we all know this, but obviously, again, I understand why we can't all go to class. My teacher would tell me exactly, like, not exactly what I was doing wrong, but what I could improve on, obviously, because she saw me and how, like, just tailored all of her teachings to me. I feel like those are the biggest pros and cons. I did do a specific video on talking about the pros and cons. It's in my ballet playlist, you guys. You guys should just check that out. So then I ended up showing up, and I think I did remember some things from the class from before, and then also from the classes that I was doing at home. It's okay to implement like bar and ballet influence workouts. That leads us to the ballet community. I also have videos on this, but I'm just gonna briefly go over this. What's it like going into ballet, into the community, and for those people that are trying to do it online, or for those people that want to journal their journeys, journal it by posting videos on it. I suggest, like, this should expand. I don't know, like, if you ever wanted to do it, I feel like you should record yourself and let me know if you have a channel. We can all support each other. If you're intimidated of going because you're just scared, everyone there, blah blah blah, everyone as an adult, I swear to gosh, it is so uplifting. Everyone there is supporting each other. I would say, like, feel out your teachers, go to different studios if you can. My teacher, you know, she's pretty strict, but I'm pretty hard on myself, and I'm not hard on myself, but I'm just like, I take almost ballet like pretty seriously. So I always want to do a good job. And this is like my internal thing. Like I'm kind of scared of authority and I just want to do a good job. Everyone's just honestly so supportive. We are all lost at the same time. Even if we're at different levels, everyone's just like really kind. I don't know how to explain it. Like, no one's really there judging you. I know that some of you have thought that too, like uncomfortable with, you know, showing up and, you know, what it would be like, especially because of how we see it in movies and stuff like that. Like, that part is, I feel like, unrealistic. And so many people have said too, like, it's not as competitive and dark as it is in movies. So just keep that in mind when you're going in. And as far as the community online, honestly, the community online has been so supportive, like super duper supportive. Like, that's where I get the most amount of love. I don't really get to meet a lot of people that have said like it was once their childhood dream to be a ballerina and it looks beautiful, but online we just share the same fairy tale / dream. It was just something that we couldn't do as children and it stuck with us. We're open-minded to this new surge of doing ballet and dressing like it and the aesthetic of it, because it's literally a dream come true. I don't know how to explain that. A lot of you guys are so supportive. Some of you are pros. I will say, if you ever want to share your journey online, I will take kind, you know, people in the comments. I will delete rude comments or not respond at all. I will say people are a little bit nitpicky, but in the best way possible. Like, for the most part, you know, like people will talk about my hair. In the videos, I talk about like my hair all the time and how I should try to make it sleeker and stuff like that. Things like that where I, you know, like shoes and stuff like that. This is the year of doing ballet core because it's just like super in style, but also it is really supportive. Like, I swear I've never come across someone that's competitive. And if you do come across someone competitive, it's rare in the adult community. That's what I've also been told. Like, normally people are a little bit more competitive, like growing up, which I don't have a solution for that. I'm so sorry. I know a lot of you young people watch this and kind of want some advice on how to deal with bullies and stuff like that. Maybe someone could like leave some advice in the bottom. That would be super helpful because everyone's always looking for advice. Because of the kind of year that I had last year, I do suffer from a lot of like image-based, like low esteem things, which is a whole other thing. But in ballet class, I never feel like low in esteem, if that makes sense. But let's talk about like flexibility and stuff like that. You guys have asked me before, like, how do I get flexible? And I think this is when it is important to like practice at home, because you have to be doing it like almost every day. I'm so sorry, you guys, my phone keeps going off. Throwing it over there. You guys have asked me like how I get flexible, and I used to do yoga like every day, and I picked it up again. If you watch my vlog, you'll know that. But my yoga teacher would say like you have to kind of stretch every day. The more consistent you are with ballet, I could see, and I was just like still stretch every day. Like, I know like a lot of ballerinas or ballet people, I can't think of the right word right now.
Professional dancers, like how embarrassing for me.
Like Tristan Simpson, I think is his name. He normally, like before his classes, like he'll stretch for like an hour. And that's because he does ballet like 5 times a week, because he's doing it professionally now. It's super good for your digestion to stretch every day. So if you don't have any specific goals as far as that goes, it's good to know that it's really good for your body to stretch. Health is super important. I know a lot of you guys are actually pretty young, but I think something that we don't think about a lot is like our health. Obviously, after my experience, I do realize the value in exercising as often as you can. So I normally we're gonna talk about like muscle building as far as my body changing. Not really, just because I'm not that consistent. I probably go like twice a month. I would like to go every week, but unfortunately, like, I don't have the budget for it. And I feel like just as long as you're exposing yourself to new things and trying these things, like, you will get better. Obviously, if you go more often, you'll get better faster, but everyone goes at their own journey, at their own pace. And I think it's so important to remember that you might have this goal in mind on how fast you want to be able to do certain things that go on point. But the difference is, like, when we're children, of course, we're able to set so much time aside to do this like practice because we have less things to do. But obviously when you become an adult, you have so many other things that you are distracted by, and I almost feel like it becomes a luxury to be able to spend some time doing things that you love and taking a moment for yourself.
And honestly, like, even doing a hobby for yourself.
It is so important to do it too, though. Like, it's super important. It is something that we forget. So like, please don't put yourself down. Like, if you're not as good as you think that you should be at this point if you're already like pretty far in your journey, I guess, and you're like, well, what the heck, like why am I not getting better? I don't think I gained muscle or like lost any weight from that because of the pace that I've been going at. So I guess if you guys were curious about something like that, so what I have gained, again, which I already briefly talked about, is muscle memory, which is so crazy because it's something that adult kids don't think about. And I'll talk in a sec, like, sorry, adult kids don't think about as they're learning it when they're younger. Is like you're able to learn so many new things when you're younger, but as well as like you have this built-in muscle memory. It's like if you've never had a dance background, you don't have that. I'll put the definition here, but it also gets you to learn things faster. So I'm sure like adult dancers watching my videos are like, this is so frustrating, like why doesn't she just get it? But it's just so hard to learn things as an adult, which is partially why I'm a little bit more proud of myself, just because I know it's actually a challenge. If you are experiencing inconsistency for some reason, I think it is so important to think about that, like really like look at your journey and how far you've come. Not only that, this is how I'm viewing like working out, and this is almost like why I need ballet versus like want to learn ballet. Like obviously I do, but like why I need to learn ballet is because you're so focused in the moment, in your actual physical body, trying to like do everything correctly, that it takes you out of any stressor or whatever. And of course like movement for your body is amazing. I've just been feeling so freaking anxious like this whole like year actually, and it's just like the first month, right? And you know, a little bit from like last year, whatever, any kind of exercise, which is why I've been a little bit more consistent with yoga now. And I've said this in a video before, but like I have this like anxious energy hanging over me, but once I work out, that energy is like almost like it uses that energy and transforms that energy to make it out into something positive, if that makes sense. So the anxious energy gets transformed into like literal like peace after any kind of workout. And I did already talk about outfits. I do want to mention that some of you guys have said dressing like in all pink and everything. I know it's unrealistic, but it's fun. And I think like if you like, it's just like when you work out, if you buy a cute like 2-set or whatever, and that makes you want to work out more because you want to show off your outfit, I don't think that that's a bad thing. I really like going in pink. If that will make you go, like I suggest buying your stuff in pink. I've talked about where I've bought my stuff before, but if you guys want a specific video on that, like just let me know. I think I actually have a video on that. Some of you guys have said like dressing in pink kind of looks a little childish. Like most classes are like dark colors, and depending on where you go, it'll suggest what colors you should wear, or you can wear anything. Like honestly, most adults classes will say like you can wear whatever. Honestly, like I love pink, and it makes me just feel good being in all pink. Like it just makes me feel like the most myself, if that makes sense. But also I understand that that's unrealistic, and not every ballerina dresses like that. Guys, I just took a COVID test and I was negative. I would say it's been like about a year that I've been going-ish. If we count off the last year, it's been a challenge, but I could notice the changes as far as like my muscle memory. I feel so proud of myself every time that I get out of a class, and it's like really, really slow progress, but just because it's slow progress doesn't mean that there isn't any progress. And I think that that's something that we should remind ourselves constantly. It's like learning a whole other language. It makes you appreciate ballet more, especially if you're an adult dancer and you already appreciate it because you're like, it looks so beautiful. As a child, I've always wanted to. It's like you're starting to learn how to communicate in this new language. It's just like a beautiful art form. I do think that we should be surrounded by a lot of art. It just like kind of lifts our spirits. And again, I've talked about how like this could be a luxury, but I do think that this is self-care. Sometimes I feel like kids don't actually appreciate it as much, and I've had some of you say it. This happens to all of us, where we do something every day and we don't appreciate it as much. But there is so much value in setting this time aside to learn this like very hard dance. I don't know, we just value it so much more. I just wanted to end it on that note. It's okay if it's like a very slow progress. I look back at myself and I'm just like really proud, and I'm able to actually focus on other things versus just being like, what is the teacher doing? Why is my foot not following? That's how it literally started. One tip that someone in the comments left was, in class, especially when you're starting, try to focus on like getting better at one thing instead of everything all at once, because then it becomes a little bit more digestible. I hope this was helpful for any one of you that's ever wanted to start. Please let me know what other ballet videos you want to see from me. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.